Welcome back to the Nafisa Dango Show. That was a very interesting topic discussing GBV with Sister Zintle. But it's about talking about things that many people look at as, should we say, in inverted commas, as taboo. And we ask ourselves, how do we change our mindsets? Because we always believe in giving people second chances. And that's exactly what it's about. So today, joining me on the show, I have Brother Sihle with me, Sihle Tshabalala. And Sihle, let me just tell you a little bit about him. Is 36 years of age, the founder of Quirky 30, a non-profit company which offers free technology skills for high school dropouts, and also filling the gap as far as ex-convicts are concerned. And I think that's an important one. Thank you so much. A very warm welcome. Thank you for joining me on the show. It's an absolute honor having you on, Sihle, this morning.
Thank you very much for inviting me and for having me on the show. And good morning to your listeners.
Yes. So Sihle, let's go into it. I mean, talk to us. It's so important for us to pen out your journey to our viewers, so they understand they understand the essence behind you and why you're doing what you're doing. I mean, we need to, of course, give Quirky 30 the essence it deserves, but it also comes with it, with a story behind it, and it's your story, your personal story that you've experienced and changed your life around for the better. So, firstly, we want
Yes.
to commend you on that because that's something
Th-
phenomenal. You
Thank you.
deserve an accolade for that because it's good to see people changing their lives for the better.
Thank you. So yes, I was born and raised here in the township based in Cape Town called Langa. I started school at the age of 4, finished high school at the age of 16. I didn't have any aspirations to go to university. That's when I turned to the only role models that I know, which are drug lords, armed robbers, and gangsters. And when I was about to turn 19, my luck ran out. And
Mm,
I was then now arrested and went to prison for 11 years and 3 months in total.
sure.
But my change process and discovery and my profound kind of a journey started when I was in prison. In spite of the fact that I started off, smuggling marijuana. Most people don't believe that you can start a business in prison. But I did.
Mm,
Even though that it was, smuggling cannabis or dacha, because I had 4 prison officials who were on my payroll for 4 years awaiting trial. I never ate prison food. I ate all the KFCs and the Nandos. I had everything
really?
figured out. I had everything figured out from supply chain, product, and market. And it's one of the things that I always encourage people to look at, because prisons, people think that the only way to eradicate crime in South Africa is to send people to prison, whereby prison it's a breeding ground for more criminal activities,
Mm,
because
mm,
the Department of Correctional Services does not have effective rehabilitation programs to rehabilitate offenders. They can never claim that they have changed me or rehabilitated me, because I made the conscious decision myself. That's why
mm,
you won't find hundreds and thousands of Sihles. You will find one
mm.
Sihle, because it was a conscious
Definitely.
decision. It was a conscious decision that I've made myself. That's why even in South Africa we have such a high recidivism rate, of over 80 offenders that gets to reoffend and go back to prison, because there are no
Mm,
effective rehabilitation programs. So I
mm,
believe that we need to engage on issues while here outside, and not wait for someone to commit something, and then that's when we start
mm.
to bring in intervention, because you have a serious problem then to offer also a therapeutic program to the victim, and also a rehabilitation program now to the perpetrator. You know,
Mm.
so let's prevent. I always believe that the same mentality and notion that is always spread around HIV prevention, it should be spread around crime too. Prevention is better than
Okay.
cure.
I so agree with you, and I couldn't, agree more. Because the thing is, I think people don't understand that we need to change our mindset when it comes to people like this. But paint us a picture about prison, because I think many of viewers do not understand, like you were saying, the seriousness of prison. That it's in fact, like you say, you're not getting the correct should we say, backup structure there to be able to make you realize that what you've done, you can change your life for the better. Whereas
Mm,
others are coming out just with the same mindset. So
mm.
just paint us a little picture about prison. I want our viewers to understand that and why how you've changed your life, what made you realize that this is not the place to be, and that's not what you want from your life. Because as we know, we all have just one life and we need to make the best of it.
Yeah, I think for me, what made me realize, that this is not the life that I want to live. Because I mean, as I said earlier, that I was a big time smuggler in prison. Because also
Mm,
I'm a former high ranking 26 gang member. So I'm one of those 26 big shots, in prisons. So I was able now to continue making money in prison, and everything changed for me when I got sentenced, and then I was transferred to a maximum security prison based here in
sure.
the Western Cape in Brandfley in the Worcester region. And when I arrived at Brandfley, I was placed in one of the notorious section called Afghanistan. It's a war zone. In South
Mm,
Africa, we have over 224 prisons. So if you are a troublemaker in all of these prisons, they kind of like send you to Brandfley. It's kind of like a dumping site. There, you get to live with guys that are sentenced 9 lives, 1,000 and something
sure.
years, who care less about going home tomorrow. But because I left Posmo with a bad reputation corrupting prison officials, that's when I was placed. That's why I was
Mm,
placed in one of the notorious section called Afghanistan. But then, couple of months being in Afghanistan, I realized that this community possess such a very high level of IQ that any other human being can ever comprehend. And
mm,
also, the reason why the people in this community behave the way that they behave is
mm,
because no one has ever challenged their thinking. No one has ever
mm.
challenged their belief system. It's like if you nickname a child killer, one day that child would want to live up to that name.
Yes.
And these are the nicknames that kind of like defines the young kids in our townships.
Yes.
It's when we start nicknaming them with names that don't have value, that don't have worth
Mm,
in life.
mm,
So that's where now I decided now to start a school. I used to be a maths and English teacher in prison without no teaching qualification.
right.
And also, I realized something when I was in prison because, no mother gave birth to a criminal.
Yes.
Whenever they bring us into this world, they always have big dreams and big ambitions in terms of how we will turn out to be. But
Mm,
80% of the time, we tend to disappoint them. For
mm,
me, I realized when I was in prison that while I was doing business robberies and heist jobs, I had over 1,000 friends. But when I was in prison, no one ever showed up for me. And
mm,
that's where this English proverb comes to life. This one that reads that when days are dark, friends are few. In
mm,
prison, that becomes a reality, because my mom, have never missed a court date. Sometimes I would realize that it's raining outside because she comes, to my court appearance day, soaky wet to come and sit in a wooden bank. She never
mm,
stopped believing, you know, and that's one of the things that kind of like hit hard and kind of
mm,
like influence my change process. And also, secondly, in prison, you learn a different type of psychology that you can never find in any of the psychology books. You can go to the
mm,
best universities in the world, whether it's Harvard, it's Oxford, it's Cambridge, it's Stanford, you'll never find it. Because in prison, if I have a problem with you, Nafisa, there's no way
mhm,
I can take your name and put it to the next transfer list to another prison. I'm not a prison official, I'm a prisoner. Meaning that for the next 5 or 10 years that I'll be serving time here with you, I'll still be challenged by you. But the
mm,
gift in prison, it's never about me trying to fix Nafisa. It's about me fixing Sihle. Let me
right.
just give you a simple analogy, just to bring this into a simple perspective very quickly.
Sure.
Let's say you wake up and you go to your bathroom every morning. You stand in front of the mirror. Who do you see there in the mirror? You see yourself. If there is a boil or a pasty or a scratch somewhere in your face, where do you touch? Do you touch Nafisa or you touch Sihle? You touch
Mm,
Sihle. So it
mm,
means that Nafisa reflects something within Sihle. So don't fix Nafisa, fix Sihle. So these are the realization that you come, into contact with in prison, because in prison you are forced to think consciously and make conscious decision. It's
Mm,
like when Nelson Mandela was interviewed in the Oprah Winfrey Show back in 2005, when Oprah asked him that what is it that he misses most about prison, and his response was time. In prison, you have ample time to reflect and think and make conscious decision about your life. And lastly, when I was in prison, somehow I got hold of a quote, from an unknown author,
mm,
which reads that if you are looking for a miracle in life and you
mm,
can't find one, be that miracle for other people. I repeat, if you are looking for a miracle in life and you can't find one, be that miracle for other people. So, that influenced, my change process. And I
mm.
made that commitment then to be a miracle for other people.
Wow, I think that's absolutely phenomenal. You are a miracle. We look at you in a very high sense, Sihle. You are an amazing, phenomenal individual who has taken, all the negatives in your life and changed it for the positives. And I hope everyone else also sees the value in Sihle and what Sihle is doing for all those other people in prison and trying to make them get their realization and change their lives for the better. We're going to go for a quick break. Stick with us. And then when we get back, we're going to talk about Quirky 30.
Awesome.
Awesome.
The actions. Those times are over. Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain development company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back
Oh,
in
I
your
was
hands, no middleman, so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
Decades of war, devastating drought, and economic collapse have pushed the Afghan people to the edge of survival. 24 million need life-saving aid, and 5 million children are knocking on famine's door. The world cannot just watch as this terrible crisis unfolds. With your support, the Al Imdad Foundation is delivering emergency relief to the Afghan people. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Plate.
It's the most exclusive event of the year, the Randary Jewelers Gold Souk Weekend. Fantastic deals on gold earrings, diamond rings, wedding jewelry, and so much more. Treat yourself to a relaxing foot massage, gorgeous henna application, or indulge in our delicious high tea. Join us on the 30th and 31st of July at the Houghton Golf Club in Houghton, Johannesburg. Follow Randary Jewelers on Instagram for more details. Randary Jewelers, the family name you can trust.
It's a new beginning. It's a new era. Salam Media, humanitarian journalism.
Welcome back to the show. And an interesting, definitely, should we say, topic that you should be listening to because it's educating us as South Africans and individuals on how we can change our mindsets and get less judgmental on people and of course see the good in them and give them that second chance at life. And Sihle has definitely taught us many different things like that. Sihle, welcome back to the show. We were talking about your experiences. Sihle, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, so we were talking about your experience, and what an interesting one. I love your forward thinking. You've become such a forward thinker in your environment. But let's talk
Thank you.
about Quirky 30. I mean, you've realized now that you yourself had to do your own realization, and it's a sad, I think, thing to hear that we're in a situation where correctional services have not actually, been given processes to follow to be able to create a support structure for you to make you understand your wrongs and then give you a way to learn a realization and of course give you some skills so that when you come out there you're not stuck. And that's what many convicts have found themselves in. And also, they get labeled. Let's be honest. I mean, if I'm living in a community and you come to me and say, well, I was an ex-convict, in many instances, and I think most of the time, you find yourself in a situation where you can't even empower yourself by getting a job. So I think what you've done is gone out there and define the needs of people coming out of prison to be able to educate them and teach them skills so that they can go out there into the world and fend for themselves so that they don't get bound and, should we say, fixed to go back into that process. And let's be honest, the reason many a times these prisoners actually go back into that because they feel as though they don't have a second chance at life in society.
Exactly.
And secondly, they feel like, what do they do now? The only way is just to go back to where they came from.
Yeah. So even the whole idea that I'm currently doing here outside with relates to Quirky 30 was indirectly inspired to me by one of my students when I was in prison. Because when I was teaching a class one day, a student of mine stood up and asked me a question that, Sihle, tell me, what is it that I can study now while in prison that will be relevant in 10 years when I'm released out of prison, you know? And I couldn't give an answer. Somehow, you know, and he sparked curiosity in me. Unfortunately, I could not do anything about it because I didn't have access to internet, computers, and also there were no libraries in a maximum security prison. So coming back to Langa, you know, after 11 years and 3 months absence, and to realize that nothing much has changed in this township. It's still the same as I have left 11 years ago. That's when now his question came back to me. So I started doing a little bit of research and digging, you know, what skills that I can learn, that I can be able now to transfer within my own community. That's when I found out about software development or coding, you know. But then I
Yes.
could not see myself going to university to go and, you know, study for 3 years, trying to obtain a BSc computer science degree. So I took the easy way out, teach myself how to code and using online free material and YouTube videos. 6 weeks later, when I was able to write a few lines of code in the code editor and then view them on the browser, that's when my imagination was captured. That's when I started looking at ways on how I can be able now to set up my own organization, you know, teach coding to underprivileged youth. So Quirky 30, it's a not-for-profit. Quirky, it's an English word that means unusual, because it's unusual or rare that you will find such a very elite technology institution in a township. And secondly, the 30 is because we aligned our work within the framework of the UN Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. So out of the 17 SDGs, we contribute to 8 SDGs in terms of the work that we do. So Quirky 30 runs a free training program. The program runs for a full 1 year. It's 6 days, you know, a week, Monday to Friday from 9 up until 5, and then Saturdays from 9 up until 2. And the programs that now that we offer, it's online digital marketing, graphic design, cloud skills, and also software development. So they learn how to build websites and mobile applications. And then we target kids between the ages of 16 to 35. Why is it? Because, I mean, we can never ignore the fact that, you know, in South Africa, 400,000 children drop out of school every year. You know, and some of these kids now, they don't want to go back to school. You know, they are looking for, you know, 22nd century skills that will plug them very quickly into mainstream economy. That's why now we have such high levels of crime in these townships, you know, because most or a majority of the population of youth don't have matric certificates, you know.
Right.
And whenever government and private sector runs programs, you know, that are skills related, they're always looking for people with matric, whereby you service only 30% of the youth population in a township. You know, 70% don't have. These are the ones that are working at shop rights and spas and working at restaurants because they have grade 11. You know, so I designed the program to tap into that majority of population that is always left out, you know. So because what I love about coding is that firstly, you don't need a university degree
Mm.
for you to be able now to do coding. And secondly, you don't need to go out and look for employment because work comes to you. And thirdly, there are tons of platforms that are available online where you can create a profile and start freelancing your skills and then start earning euros, pounds, and dollars. And
Wow.
lastly, you can become innovative. There's a guy, his name is Brian. He applied to work at Facebook. He's the founder of WhatsApp. He's the founder and creator of WhatsApp. He applied to work at WhatsApp. His application was rejected. 2 years later, Facebook acquired WhatsApp for $19 billion.
Mm. That's amazing.
So it means that if you acquire the technology skills or the coding skills, you can build something that one day will either be acquired by government or telecom or MTN or big corporations in South Africa.
Sita, you're absolutely amazing with the way you think. You're such a forward thinker, which I love. It's
Thank you.
because you go out there, and I think what it is define the need, but you ask yourself the question, how can you define the need? And I mean, you've just explained it to us with
Hmm.
people that don't have, a university degree or even a matriculate, as you said. But it's about empowering them on a long-term basis, and that's what matters. Is where they can go back into communities and societies and face it the right way by saying, I'm empowered, I can look after myself. I don't have to go back into that system of becoming a criminal all over again in order for me to change my life. My life can change
Exactly.
around for the better. And I mean, you've been for me, I think I'm actually honored to have you on my show because you're such a phenomenal young human being who has thought of such an amazing way of actually turning people's lives around. And I think that's what it's about. I think you're definitely going to create your own legacy. And I mean, when I started off the show, I spoke about late Jesse Duarte and late brother Omaruddin Don Matera. And I think we definitely going to see Sihle Tshabalala. And you said there's only one when we just started. And I agree with you
Definitely.
fully. You've
Yeah.
definitely inspired us in many directions, and I'm hoping that you've inspired all our youth out there, all our viewers, to be able to
Yes.
understand that there is a life out there, out of prison. It's not about going back into the system, but coming to people like yourselves and changing it around, and definitely getting that second chance at life and moving totally forward. You know what? You've been a true inspiration to me today. I really want
Thank
to
you.
thank you. I've been so honored by having you on my show.
Thank
It's
you.
been a real pleasure. And I want to thank you so much. But I also want to wish you the best. From myself and the Salam Media team, you've definitely changed the way we look at things. And I hope we've changed the narrative and the way people see people like yourself. But definitely, is there a way for people to get a hold of you, Sihle? I think they definitely need to support you in many directions with the type of things that you are doing.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to add something on what you've just said. Albert Einstein once said that we can never change today's problems with the same thinking and mindset that created them. It means we
Exactly.
need to be different. So, and also, people can get hold of me via our website and also my mobile number. It's 074 375 3767. Again, it's 074 375 3767. And I also have WhatsApp on that number.
Thank you so much. You've been a true
Pleasure.
inspiration. And for myself and the Salam Media team, I think you have our utmost support with what you're doing. I'm hoping to catch up with you in a short while to be able to see how much more you've done, because you've done a lot. And I think you've actually changed the way we're thinking today. So thank you so much. Wishing you all the best.
Pleasure.
Take care of yourself, and
Pleasure.
good luck.
Bye.
Bye bye. That was Sihle Tshabalala. What an amazing gentleman. And I mean, he's taught us to look at ex convicts in such a different way. And of course, at people that really need to be empowered. And this is what it's about. I keep saying on the show, we have to change that narrative. It's about looking at long term, not short term, long term sustainability, long term empowerment, long-term visions. And, as he said, retrospection and reflection, and asking ourselves, where are we and why can't we change our lives for the better? But he's been a true inspiration. Stick with us. We have more inspirational words for you after this break.